My name's Greg Beneteau and I'm Editor-in-Chief of Imprint, the student newspaper at the University of Waterloo. This is our first in a series of 5 interviews, interviewing candidates running in Kitchener-Waterloo in the 2011 federal election. The candidate I have with me here today is the Green Party candidate running in Kitchener-Waterloo. Her name is Cathy MacLellan. Hello Cathy, how are you today?
Good, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. So we're into the latter half of this campaign, and we've heard a lot from the party leaders talking about what they think this election should be about. As a candidate running in Kitchener-Waterloo, what do you think this election should be about?
Well, I think every election is about the same thing, giving people an opportunity to show their support for a candidate, for a party. And these opportunities are coming up more often because we have a government who isn't willing to really accept the parliamentary system that we have. So we have an opportunity in front of us, a few weeks remaining, to choose the candidate that we think best represents our point of view and our policies that we'd like to see put forward. So I think this is how democracy works. There's lots of other countries that are having lots of elections. Canada is no worse than many of them. And what we need is a government who understands how our parliamentary system works and is willing to work with other people.
Tell us a little bit about Elizabeth May. Why would she be a good leader of a party going into Ottawa?
I've met Elizabeth May many times. As a matter of fact, I've known her since 2007. And she's one of the reasons I became a Green Party candidate. One of many reasons. I think Canadians are getting to know Elizabeth May. She's authored many books, and her books show her point of view very clearly. She has a history in government. She worked for the Mulroney government and actually quit when they reversed their a policy they were going to do. So she quit on principle. And she has led the Greens to increased popularity in their vote and across the country each election cycle that she's been leader. So the Green Party was the only political party in 2008 to increase their votes. So people are interested in the Green Party. They're interested in Elizabeth May. She has shown stellar leadership for Canadians. She's talking about issues that a lot of Canadians want to hear us talking about.
And a lot of Canadians seem to be concerned about whether our healthcare system is going to be able to survive the era of an increasingly aged population. So what does the Green Party see as the future of healthcare in Canada, and how would they make that happen?
Healthcare, it's a very complex issue, obviously, and we are being told all the time that there isn't enough funding, that we need more funding, but actually it's sometimes the allocation of resources for healthcare that is the problem. One of the things the Green Party has proposed and Canada should have is a national pharmacare system. We're paying far too much for pharmaceuticals, and this is a case of pharmaceutical companies being unregulated and able to set the policies regarding acquisition of drugs in Canada, and this has to stop. We need the government to be working for the benefit of people more than the benefit of these large corporations. The Green Party would like to see that happening. There's a lot of other areas around primary care and what we use doctors for and what we use, say, nurse practitioners for. Other countries are finding that other kinds of healthcare professionals can actually be given increased responsibilities in terms of healthcare. We have our doctors doing a lot of things that other healthcare professionals can do. It's very expensive use of the funds, the limited funds we have. So branching out and allowing, say, nurse practitioners to take on more responsibilities and taking the burden off physicians who are very expensive, the most expensive part of a healthcare system. Obviously,
the Green Party has a plan to address environmental issues. Let's have it.
Oh, it's a big plan. And I would say, you know, the environment, I'm going to quote someone famous here. Gaylord Nelson said, "The environment is a wholly owned subsidiary of the economy." Let's switch that around. The economy is a wholly owned subsidiary of the environment. All right, our economy functions because of how we treat our environment. And so we have to be very careful about what goes on. You can't separate the two. Ecological wisdom is one of our founding principles. No other party takes that into account. And because we do that, people focus on that and think we have policies just looking after that. Yes, young people get it because they're being taught in schools what's going on in the environment. And it's great because that is so much a part of our everyday life. And the Green Parties do have a plan to move us forward. But the plan includes 3 things. Fiscal responsibility, which includes living within our means, financially, ecologically, socially. It's all included in that. But that's a big philosophy of Green Party people, is living within our means. The other is ecological wisdom, understanding there are limits. There are limits to growth, there's limits to our resources. One of the challenges your generation will be facing is resource depletion, the end of cheap energy. We've built our economies on the readily available cheap energy. And if you go to fill up your car with gas today, you will know that that era is no more. And we also have resource depletion happening all over the world. And the third pillar is social justice. Policies have to recognize that the gap between the rich and the poor is growing in Canada. This is a very dangerous place for us to go. A society with a healthy middle class is a healthy society. And we're no longer, that's no longer happening in Canada. So this gap is very serious and needs to be tended to.
Now here in Kitchener-Waterloo, at one point during the economic recession, we had one of the highest unemployment rates in all of Canada. I know you're an entrepreneur and a businesswoman who founded a green tech company here in Waterloo. Oftentimes party leaders from other parties will say it's either the environment or the economy.
It's absolutely a false economy, and we now have evidence to the contrary in other countries. And I'll point out Germany, which is where we built a manufacturing plant. In 1989, when the Berlin Wall fell down, they had 30% unemployment. It's a huge problem for a federal government to deal with. So how did they create jobs? They created jobs by incenting and investing in clean tech industries, wind, solar, biotechnologies. They decided, and I can tell you it was with the help of Green Party parliamentarians, that that was the direction they were going to go. And they very aggressively went after supporting those kinds of industries. They created hundreds of thousands of jobs. Germany is the powerhouse of the European Union now. It is completely wrong to think that an economy that focuses on the industries of the future, which the rest of the world is going at gangbusters, we're going to miss out. We're going to miss out in trade, and we're going to miss out in training our workers to have the knowledge and expertise to build the kinds of things that we will need to build a resilient economy and a resilient nation. Now here in Waterloo, we have a fairly mixed economy. We have lost manufacturing jobs, which I think we need to bring back. We need to build a resilient economy, and we do that by making sure we have mixed economies locally.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention education. It's obviously on the minds of a lot of students. The rising cost of tuition, the accessibility and quality of education at institutions like the University of Waterloo. Where does education fit into the Greens platform?
A couple of things. One, I graduated in '84 from Waterloo, and I had a little debt, and I got a great full-time job to pay off that debt within really my first year of full-time employment. And we've done this calculation with other people, and based on the debt I had and the job, the amount of money I got, today, for that situation to happen, a student just graduating would have to walk into a job that pays them $210,000 a year. That doesn't happen, and it's unfortunate. So what kind of economy have we created where we're having kids who've invested a tremendous amount of money into an education, and they're getting out and they have no jobs, no full-time jobs to go to? This is an economy that's not functioning properly. And we need to question our politicians and business leaders and ask them why that's happening, as they're going to end up with a burden on them for many, many years, and that's unacceptable. The Green Party has made proposals to help students deal with their debt load. One of them is to give them longer than 6 months, which is the grace period before you begin paying your student loan back. We would like to extend that to 2 years. It takes a long time to find good quality work here. I would argue that the policies of our government, particularly around corporate tax breaks, do not help students find full-time employment. They help Walmarts and McDonald's and companies like that, but those are not the kind of jobs a fresh graduate needs to get to pay off his loan to start setting up his life as an adult. So we're looking at different options for that, but corporate tax breaks, I can assure you, are the least best option for job creation.
The issue of apathy has come up a couple of times. How are we going to get Canadians engaged in this election and improve the rather dismal turnout from 2008.
17 votes separated the leaders in the last election. We even had a municipal election where one vote determined the winner. So your vote counts. Every vote counts. I tell them that all the time. It takes 21,000 votes to win, basically, in this riding. Maybe 25, it depends what happens. But if it's as tight a race, they could choose the MP if even half the amount of students voted. Whether they will or not, I don't know. I've been canvassing and knocking on doors in student neighborhoods. Of course, I find a lot of students very motivated to vote Green. They understand that the Green Party is a party of the future, and we deal with the kinds of problems that are going to be on their shoulders in the future. So I am confident that more students, maybe not enough, not as much as I'd like, but more students will vote in this election.
Was there anything else you wanted to add real quick, Cathy?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about Green Party policies. I think people should go to my website, votecathy.ca, and see what our policy is about. I've been blogging about the election. I've been trying to share bits of behind the scenes on what a campaign looks like too, because I really believe in the value of understanding how politics works.
Great. Cathy, it was a pleasure meeting with you today.
Thank you.
So, for more election coverage in this 2011 federal election, you can go to Imprint's website at www.theimprint.ca. My name is Greg Beneteau, and I'm Editor-in-Chief of Imprint, signing off.